Hello everyone, my name is Adam Michael Anthony Simpson and you're watching my YouTube channel, Adam M.A. Simpson. Today we'll be making pumpkin soup with Jamaican patties. We're going to be doing a semi-homemade Jamaican beef patty but using the impossible burger meat because Vicky doesn't eat meat. She's pescatarian, so we're being better to the environment, being plant-based today for the most part. Yeah, so here goes. We're gonna do it very simple. I actually pre-prepped everything so that the video won't take too long, but without further ado, let us get into the ingredients. And we need to start with the things that will take the longest to cook, which is the soup, followed by the patty. So for the soup, we have 1 kilogram of butternut squash. Believe it or not, in Jamaica, when we say we're making pumpkin soup, we really are talking about a type of squash called a calabaza squash, where you can get that in the States, but that's what we call pumpkin in Jamaica. We don't have the same pumpkin that Americans call pumpkin, the orange type. No, our pumpkin is usually like an orange, variegated green skin color with a very vibrant, deep orange color, just like this from this butternut squash. And I actually prefer the flavor of butternut squash than the American pumpkin. It tastes closer to the calabaza. So that's what we're using today. We have our 1 kilogram of pumpkin. Towards the end, we're gonna add 2 chopped corn cobs into smaller bite-sized cob pieces. For the soup, we also have 3 cloves of garlic. We have 3 cloves of garlic that we roughly chopped, as well as some aromatics that we will add towards the end once we've blended actually the butternut squash, which is some sprigs of thyme, some spring onions, or what we call scallion, or you guys call it scallion too, and a whole habanero pepper that we will add to the pot. Because the habanero, or well, in Jamaica we use a Scotch bonnet pepper. It has a very specific aroma that only comes from the pepper. That's actually not peppery or spicy. It's just it's a flavor that you only can get from just getting the essence of the pepper without releasing the spicy, very peppery flavor that you get from the seeds. So we're actually extracting the essence of the berry, not the seeds, when we drop the whole pepper into the soup. We're also going to be adding some allspice berries to the soup. This is a must-have in Jamaica: scallion, thyme, allspice, Scotch bonnet. If you don't have Scotch bonnet, we'll use a habanero pepper. Must-haves in anything savory for Jamaican food. For the soup, we're going to be boiling in a base of vegetable broth and water, and towards the end, once we're adding the aromatics, including the corn, we'll add some coconut cream, which is also very common for Jamaican stews or soups. We add coconut milk or cream. So that's it for the soup. Let's get to starting the soup and then we'll talk about the patties. So we're gonna start making the soup. And to a large pot, we're gonna put it on high heat and place in our vegetable broth that I just showed you. Add in our calabaza or butternut squash to the pot, and then we're going to add some water just until it covers the butternut squash, and I'll show you how it looks when I'm done. what the water to butternut squash ratio should be. I'm sorry, this pot looks a lot bigger than what we actually have inside. So let me show you what it looks like. How much butternut squash to liquid ratio we have. Let me stir this for you. Awesome. Alright, so now we're gonna get to making the patties. So as I said before, we're gonna be using Impossible Burger meat. This is the Impossible Burger meat. And we also chopped up some 3 cloves of garlic, a half of a sweet bell pepper, green sweet bell pepper. We chopped up a whole habanero pepper, including the seeds. So beef patties, or in this case, Impossible meat patties, are supposed to be very spicy. That's the authentic flavor. So we're making it very spicy by including a whole habanero pepper. If you do not like spices, you can include jalapeno peppers instead of a habanero. Or if you want to avoid spice completely, you can just chop up a whole of a sweet bell pepper. If you don't have spicy chili peppers at home, you can also include cayenne pepper, like a dash of cayenne for the spice. But a true authentic flavor would have a Scotch bonnet pepper. But if you can't do anything any better, you can use a habanero pepper as well. So we have those ingredients. We also have some thyme that we will stew with the meat stew before we add it into the patty crust. And actually, what many people don't know that gives Jamaican patties the meat like a gummy, pasty texture is actually including some breadcrumbs. So we're including a half a cup of breadcrumbs in our meat stew. So let's start off by making the meat stew, and then we'll get to the crust. So we're making our meat stew now for the patties to a small, around 9-inch, 10-inch skillet. I don't remember the standard sizes, but this size skillet. Add about a tablespoon to 2 tablespoons of vegetable oil. Here I have canola oil. Doesn't really matter. Feel free to use any oil you want. Actually, a true Jamaican flavor would include coconut oil, but we don't have enough today to really cook, so we're just gonna use canola oil. And before we add our aromatics, we're just gonna brown our Impossible Burger meat. And be careful, this might splash. This is on medium heat. Okay, won't splash. Just, incorporate the meat into the oil and brown. Boil a little bit of water just to add if we need it. So now I'm going to add our aromatics for the patty. And we're going to add some crushed black pepper. Jamaicans actually cook with a lot of black pepper. And so yeah, we're adding about half a teaspoon of black pepper. Salt to taste. I'm just gonna sprinkle some, doesn't need that much. That's good. We also have some onion salt. Trader Joe's onion salt. I'll add about half a teaspoon. And then this spice I actually really love from Trader Joe's. This is the Mushroom and Company Multi-Purpose Umami Seasoning Blend. So we're gonna add another half teaspoon of that. And incorporate. Alright, so I'm gonna add a little bit of water. Just a little bit. And at this moment we will add the thyme sprigs just to the side. Let this, you know, let the water take on some of the thyme flavor. And I want to just reduce this to a simmer. If you're someone that loves like a Mediterranean flavor, feel free to add some cumin to this mix and maybe some cinnamon, and you'd have more of a Mediterranean flavor coming out. We're just gonna reduce the heat and let that cover. My cover is too small, so forgive me, but you know, this will do the job. Reduce to a simmer and just let it simmer for a couple minutes. And then we'll add our breadcrumbs once we're done. Awesome, so our soup is boiling. We're gonna blend. I reduced the heat a little bit. And we're gonna blend with a hand blender. So I'll have to show you how this looks. Yeah, our little culinary hand blender. Love this tool. It actually makes really good mashed potatoes. So we're just gonna hand blend it. Careful that it splashes. So you can see the consistency now, it's very liquid. And at this point, we're gonna add our other ingredients. Add our garlic cloves, 3 cloves of garlic, chopped finely. And our corn, 2 corn cobs that we cut into smaller pieces, and we're just gonna boil it in the butternut squash blend, as well as our aromatic flavors. So that's the scallion, three sprigs of scallion, some thyme, and a whole habanero pepper, as well as the allspice berries. And we'll turn up the heat to 3/4 the way to high and cover the lid, let this boil. And towards the end, we're gonna add our coconut cream. So our patty mixture has been simmering. And now we're gonna get rid of the thyme so that we don't have any fibrous thyme sprigs in our patty. And now we're going to add the breadcrumbs. So let's stir in the half cup of breadcrumbs, and then we're going to have a nice pasty patty base. Put the fire on low and just incorporate the breadcrumbs. If it gets too clunky, feel free to add some hot water. Always good to have some boiling water when you're making Jamaican food. Yeah, so I think I want to add some more water. Yes, this is looking more like what it should look like. Yes, this is a consistency. Jamaican patty mix. Plant-based Jamaican beef patties. Yum. Okay, so here is the cheat for the patty crust. We're gonna be using Trader Joe's Buttermilk biscuit. Buttermilk biscuits batter or dough to roll and make our small, cocktail patties to eat with our soup and a salad. So here it goes. I'm just gonna open the can of buttermilk biscuit dough by Trader Joe's. Vicky and I love to eat these. That frightened me. Here are the biscuits. They're already pre-cut for us. This is going to save so much time having to make our crust, which we don't have the time to make today. I also don't really have a good recipe. I've tried. I usually just use puff pastry dough, which works fine, but today we're just going to use the biscuit dough. So let us flour our surface. Gonna flour our biscuits as well so that they don't stick to my surface. The good thing about this recipe is the meat inside of the pie is already cooked. So we can actually make the patties and save for a later time by putting in the freezer. So feel free to do that, make the patties and conserve on time that way. Today I'm just gonna make all of them and eat them throughout the week. So I'm just rolling out my patty crusts to be thin crust. And then we'll fill. I'll show you how to fill shortly. But yeah, for now, just rolling. We're gonna roll in circles. We're gonna roll, try and make the crust as round as possible. And once I'm done, this is about the size, a little smaller than a tortilla, or actually the size of a tortilla. Here, just leave it on the side and then work the next biscuit. When I'm done, we'll fill them and put them on a cookie baking sheet laid with some parchment. Just showing you how to fill the patty. So we have our spoon, our fork, we're gonna use it to crimp. And we're just gonna add nice spoonful of the meat to the center of the crust. And wet our fingers with some water, wet one side of the crust, and fold over. It's okay if some of the meat comes out. you'll just see some browned meat coming out, which is actually something that I used to look forward to as a kid when we went to buy some patties. And just lay it on a parchment lined baking sheet, and I'll show you when I'm done and I'm about to bake. Okay, so we have our patties ready to put in the oven, and they're gonna go in an oven at 350 degrees for 15 minutes or until golden brown. So we're just gonna do a check on our soup. It's coming together in a short amount of time. We're gonna add the coconut cream and then serve. Now it's time to add our coconut cream to the pot, and you can see that the soup has been reducing and becoming enriched. It's cool. Put this down so that we don't have so much steam. You can see here, got the soup. It's so nice. Smell the corn. I think I might add some salt and a little black pepper. Just adding our coconut cream. Need a spoon, it's so thick. And we just mix this in and let it cook for another 15 minutes until the patties are done, and we'll be good to go. Mix it in, and we can do our taste test. This is when we can add our salt. So in Jamaica, when we make soup, we don't usually blend the pumpkin. We actually just coat the pumpkin and let it boil down until it gets rich. And we actually get a lot of flavor just by, you know, boiling over a long time period. But we cheated today and added the blending step so that we could conserve on time. We usually have a lot more ingredients in here. We'd have, you know, yams, sweet potatoes, maybe some potatoes, as well as dasheen, maybe chocho, some carrots, you know, other ingredients. But today we're keeping it simple because we have the patties, and we're gonna have this for dinner with a salad, and I'm gonna do a taste test now to see if we need some salt, maybe some black pepper. It's actually pretty good. For the health conscious, I wouldn't add any salt, but I'm gonna add some salt. Just a dash, about a teaspoon sea salt would be good. Yes. And you know what? Let's mix it up. I'm gonna add some cinnamon, a dash of powdered cinnamon, just to add a little warmth to the flavor, and a little black pepper. Butternut squash is so sweet. So sweeter than I expected. This was a really ripe butternut squash. So we're gonna have a good time today. And yeah, we're almost done. Just let this cook for another 15 minutes and we'll serve and taste. Okay, so we're done. We're gonna taste test everything. Our nice soup. Taste this. Brings me back home. Yum. And our nice patties, look at our patties, how they came out. Nice and golden brown. And let me just take a bite. Mmm. That's really good. And actually, with the buttermilk biscuit batter, it reminds me of another meat pie or meat pastry that we make in Jamaica called a meatloaf. Yeah, because the biscuit rises so much. It's a cross between a patty and a meatloaf flavor. Really enjoy it. Alright, so thank you for watching this episode. Please stay tuned for next week. I'll have a new video for you. And please like and subscribe to the channel, because when you like and subscribe to the channel, you help to support me. And yeah, hope you enjoy this recipe.